On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if homeboy Ryan picks good bad dad or bad dad on the boys. If Lex Luthor's out finally on My Adventures with Superman. And if Spider-Man's origin is something that Spider-Man the Animated Series thinks we needed to know about. All that and more in an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, my cute little flat nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every single TV show based on comic books that we deem worthy, and none of the unworthy ones. We're not doing those anymore. I'm your host for the evening, Mike Gravano, and I'm so happy to have you here with us, listeners. With me, as always, is Cat... What? Oh, embarrassing. With me, as actually always, is Ryan.
Okay. So I thought that you were calling me a cat, but that's not true. You're about
Hey,
to say,
big cat. Can I call you the big cat?
You can call me MC Scat Cat if you want.
No, come on.
Is that taken?
That's a legend. I think it's taken.
I think I just came up with that name right now.
You only take 3 steps back and more steps back.
Yeah, I am sorry, Mike, that I can't be Cat or MC Scat Cat or Cassie. If you could right now. This is an honest question. Pinky swear?
Yes. Is your pinky flipping? Is your pinky squiggling? No, you're healthy. Okay.
Here are your options. Me and you do the show forever.
Love it.
Because we're best of friends and we love doing the show. Or I'm replaced with the MC Scat Cat, the animated cartoon cat that sang Opposites Attract with Paula Abdul. And I'm replaced right now and you never see me again. What would you pick?
MC Scat Cat who sang with Opposites Attract with Paula Abdul. Fuck her 20 years of friendship.
Do you think you're a good friend?
I've been with him longer than you, honestly.
What do you mean with him?
You don't want to know.
No, Mike, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about the night shows, but I do have an important story to tell.
Tell me your important story.
Because right now is sort of our chance to not talk about comic book TV, comic book based TV, and so I have to admit something that I tried asparagus last night. Again, for the first time. I've a renowned asparagus
once
hater.
a decade.
And I have to tell you, it's fucking disgusting. It tastes like the fucking devil's cum.
What is it like being 5 years old in perpetuity?
So wait, hold on. If you want to be an adult, you have to like everything, even if it's a fucking shit-covered brick thrown at your teeth?
Vegetables rule, and they taste very good unless you're lima beans, which are the devil's nutsack.
Okay.
And those rotten hell.
Lima beans are fine.
No. What if you took rotten paper and rolled it into a little ball? Fuck off.
What if you scraped the bottom of the Pope's taint and you put butter on it and said that was okay? That's what asparagus is.
I'm getting horny.
Do you think Cassie...
Where did you try it?
Where did I try it? At my
Did you
dining
make it
room
at home?
table.
Okay, well, I blame the cook.
So you have to blame the cook for God, our Lord and Savior, making a disgusting
He's
fucking...
the ultimate cook.
He grows this green wheat. It looks like fucking green wheat. It looks like a fucking dumb asparagus, and he's going to put it on your table and then say, oh, eat this fucking piss-inflicting devil's juice.
Piss-inflicting desm juice. Do you know a fucked up thing I learned? Because you said wheat, remind me of rye, not you.
Uh-huh.
Rye, the grain, used to be inedible, and it was planted near wheat. And rye, and this is true and scientific, saw how much wheat was getting eaten and propagated, and it went, we'll be more like wheat then. And it started to change till it became edible. Plants are crazy.
I love how you do your little YouTube videos on my podcast where you're like, no, this is true. Look it up. And then you know so much
Jamie, can you look that
up? No, Joe Rogan. I'm sure that you're totally doing it. But I do like to think of that as you being wheat, right? Boring everywhere, full of shit, and me being Rye.
Nutritious.
And me just like following.
Prickly,
in your footsteps.
awful. Why are you there? You're a weed, essentially.
But now we're both edible, don't you know?
Our powers combine, and we'll get you drunk. I think you're going to say this is why Cassie didn't show up tonight.
Yeah, because we were both here.
I get it. Sometimes you need a break from this energy.
What if she said, I will show up when one of you doesn't?
Well, have a good time because I'm taking a break. Tonight,
I didn't think you were going to fight that hard for that position.
Tonight, we are, of course, talking about Spider-Man, the animated series, Sins of the Father, Chapter
Part 2.
Sweet Tooth. Mike Gravano, Adventures with Superman. But before all that, the real reason Cass isn't here, we are covering the first 2 episodes of Season 4 of The Boys! On the first 2 episodes of The Boys, the team is trying to pick up the pieces of the second season. Probably the third season. MM is mostly in charge of a government-funded secret op team, and it's going okay. If it wasn't for Butcher losing it, Huey's dad in a coma, a riot blossoming on the street, Homelander's trial, Newman becoming the vice president, Ryan's debut as Homeboy, Kamiko's alcoholism, Frenchie's new love, Deep's attempt at self-respect, and Sister Stage, a powerful new member of the Seven/Homelander's mind guard, with her only power being that she's the smartest woman.
Mike, it's person.
It's person in the world. Taste buds, I ask you this. Recently, Boys showrunner Eric Krupke, Dear Eric Krupke, said that the entire series has always been about Trump and fascism. Is he the dumbest boy in school? Or does he want to make sure that the show isn't watched in the same way that Fight Club, Breaking Bad, All of Scorsese, American Psycho, Starship Troopers, Natural Born Killers, and Dirty Dancing were all watched?
I guess, like, dude, we know. Is he, like, did he see too many like, Reddit threads of people like, yeah, finally they see us?
Yes, it's so much of Reddit is Todd, Mother's Milk's ex-wife's new husband.
Her baby non-daddy.
Her baby non-daddy. Her non-baby non-daddy. Who is an idiot and think that Homelander is great. So much of Reddit is that and the internet in general. And so, yeah, I think, again, with this show, every season I feel like they're like, it's even less subtle than before. And it's never been a subtle show.
I feel like that if you, like starting with season 1, so starting with season 2, it's even less subtle than before, and you bold even and subtle and before a little bit more every season on every poster, that would be The Boys.
I still love it.
No, I think that it's great. I laughed so much during these first 2 episodes. Like, I think it's funny. I think that, like, every time The Boys comes out, we bring up the first Deadpool movie about how, like, it just gets how to make fun of this shit more than the very, very obvious shit that Deadpool was. I love it, but, like, man, it's not a subtle fucking show. No. And I think that he is not responding to people like us. I think he is responding to Reddit, maybe not Reddit threads, 4chan threads. Who
I was going to say Reddit actually is almost too woke.
Yeah.
Reddit's like us. And yeah, it's the 4chan. It's wild. It's wild how media illiterate so many people are. That they couldn't get that they were, wait, are we the baddies? So he just keeps digging it in harder and harder.
And, like, I don't know if I might have watched these 2 episodes under the guise of this comment that he had, but, like, Kamiko drawing all over the Let's Protect Children poster and saying, why don't you actually fucking protect children instead of fakely doing it? Or fakely doing it, or like walking up to the Newsmax.
Is that Firecracker?
Yeah, probably less than Fox News, but like Newsmax, US 1 or whatever that other news station is, and saying like, no, but what are you actually doing it for? And her laying out exactly, oh, these people feel threatened even though they're not, and so like I'm just going for them. This is so clearly against them. Are there still? But the other thing with Eric Krupke saying this, like, are you trying to eliminate half your audience, bro?
Yeah, I get that because, like, you don't sell ads on Amazon, so it's not hurting his bottom line. And saying maybe, I don't think that's what Officer Krupke actually believes in, but saying that if he did only care about how much that dollar in his pocket, it does not matter with Amazon. because they're getting money anyway through big Amazon.
They don't. I mean, it's not like Apple canceling Jon Stewart, right? Like this is a different thing. But even like Frenchie finally coming to terms with what we all knew from the beginning of the show.
Bro, you're French. You're gonna hook up with guys.
Not only are you French, but you're gay. I could see that turning off so many of like these. When I say these people, you know who these people are.
And I did see complaints on Reddit about that.
Oh,
They're
did
like,
you?
it was just so ham-fisted. I was like, oh, you guys don't realize how you're too close to hating the Starlighters.
Yeah, those people want to be ham-fisted.
What I think is great about this show is so often the preacher something gets, the worse it does in quality. But a combination of this show knows what funny is, and it's built up 4 seasons of character work, and always goes back to that. That in the midst of the bully pulpit it's taking of anti-Trump Homelander, you're dealing with Huey dealing with his dad's stroke. You're dealing
and mom coming back out of nowhere.
And mom coming back. You're dealing with Butcher dying. He's dying slowly and doesn't know how to deal with that. And watching, and this is why you and I think love Homelander as a character, which does not mean we believe in what he believes in because we are media literate.
I just want to say that right now, Mike and I are not dressed in Homelander clothes. We do not fly a Homelander flag. We are not part of his cult. We think he's a well-written character that puts a reflection back onto America. Not that we agree with his policies.
And Anthony Starr plays him perfectly.
His name is fucking Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr. I do think, and because we are all dumber and everything is a simulation, he is this generation's John Hamm of there's idiots who watch it and think this guy's character's awesome, and then they're going to get older and be like, oh, I misread that show completely.
Oh, fuck. You should have absolutely, in your way too long, sorry to give you notes on air, but long list of things that people watch poorly or in the wrong way. Mad Men should have been on there.
Mad Men.
The amount of like Don Draper love as opposed to the Don Draper I relate to him and therefore hate this show or hate his character should have been on your list.
Yes. But Anthony Starr or Homelander plucking out his white pubes one by one, freaking out that he's getting older. And again, this is why it's a good character, because he is evil purely, but there are still relatable things, and it makes it grosser and more uncomfortable and a better fictional character overall. And that's why consistently, we've said this for years, man, does Boys the TV show destroy Boys the comic book.
Oh, I legit, every time this show's on, forget about Boys the comic book.
Yes.
Garth Ennis, I love him. He gave us Preacher. Forever in debt, but I will always forget about. Also, let's think about this. He is pulling the white ones out of the brown, which is like, is that reverse immigration?
Of what he's doing.
Yeah. And then, but he is separating the white ones and putting them as safe. So, like, is he saying they're special or they're terrible?
Special, because it's with his breast milk that he used to suckle.
Mike, if I pulled every one of my white pubes out, I would not be able to.
You'd be bald as a baby.
I would have no time for this podcast. It's not fucking funny.
How do we like? So let's dig into the 2 new characters. There's probably more. Sage, because I'm going to listen to what she wants to be called, and not what Vought thinks she should be called.
So, unfortunately, Mike comes in with a less than 0 batting average because she was on the TV show Powers. She was the co-detective. Remember her name?
So was your girl, Logan. And she went on to star in Dear White People. So we know you can climb out of Powers.
Okay.
Hell.
I do have a thing for Dear White People actresses. I think that she's great because she is, I'm so smart that I only know how to tell the truth. And if you bring truth to any of these right-wing people's
those
life,
people,
then it will tear it down from its foundation. And I do, like, my first thought was, like, it's a writer's cheat, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a little unfair that she just gets to know everything when she's written by the writers who are writing everything else. But to watch her just be this truthful and powerful, bring truth to power, is amazing.
Well, especially because you would think, and I think in a lot of traditional shows, that would mean she's on the boys' side. But,
right,
and in a really defeating way,
right,
she says, no, I can manipulate those who are actually in power and will remain in power because I'm the smartest person in the world. I can read the tea leaves. The boys will never win. Woo, let's not put that in the real world at all.
Throughout these first 2 episodes, we get the feeling that like, oh, she'll make the boys better. But when she realizes, and this is off screen.
Yeah.
We see her having been already realized that beating these 3 people with bats to the head is better for the overall project.
Yes.
And that's how smart people work.
She's uplifting Homelander's game because he is so upset that he's surrounded by sycophants because he kills everybody who's not. But he's like, oh, everybody's weak. So he goes to her because he heard about her. And then he's like, no, I can take it, even though his eye twitches every time she speaks the truth. It isn't like you're not all powerful. She's like, hey, you should kill your biggest supporters and then drop them in the middle of a pro-Starlight anti-Homelander protest.
And then I will. The sacrifice that I'll make is to throw a hot coffee across the lines in order to cause a riot.
Is this a milkshake duck?
Holy shit. I went for my drop pad.
I know. He's about to give me a point on a show where we don't do points and he's not the host.
But the other thing, too, is that she says she watches The Deep and like the PR rep for The Deep.
Yeah. The character's name is Ashley.
Right. And so The Deep has a deep conversation with her. But now in the second episode, you're sort of seeing, is Sage so smart she can't help it? Or is she the best reality show player of all time? Knowing that it's just best to like light these fires under everybody. Yeah. And so it's all in chaos, and then I'll do what I'm going to do.
I think even though Ashley is very weak because she is a human, she realizes if the only person... Ashley talks down to everybody except for Homelander. I think Sage is like, well, then I'll get rid of her, and then I'm in ultimate control because nobody can go toe-to-toe with me, even Homelander.
Yes, and that's all going to happen. I think that she's going to fuck everything up, and I sort of like that if one beacon of truth, despite the fact that she has her own agenda, goes into one of these houses of lies, then it will literally burn everything to the ground.
And burns it down, even though, she's not on the side of the boys. She's just on the side of her. And I always think anytime there's black versus white, and the show's been very good at being like, but the white side, and by that I mean the boys, the good versus evil. The good side is also pretty fucked up. Anytime you add in a gray, like somebody else is they have their own agenda. Oh man, it's so much more fun.
And yeah, Mike, it's not that I'm getting old. I'm not picking white hairs out. I'm picking gray hairs out of my pubes. So that doesn't mean old at all.
No, it means you don't like this third-party brainworm shit.
Yeah. I don't have a worm in my brain eating part of my... Anyway.
We have ups and downs, mostly downs with child actors on the superhero show. How is the show highlighting Orion more and more? Homeboy, as the Hollywood suits want to call him.
Would I love to have him have a different first name? Sure. But I will say he's great because his job is to be a bad child actor for most of the time. So when in the first episode, there's this confrontation between Newman's daughter, Zoe, and Ryan and Butcher and Homelander. And that does not get you Emmys. But when most of the first 2 episodes has to be a bad actor because they're all acting we find out that they're mostly fronting crimes.
That they have never saved anybody, probably all our heroes.
Then that's when it works perfectly. And when he fucking yeets that dude, he's so angry at his dad, and he's like, I don't know if it's puberty or just right before puberty, but he's so mad at his dad that he yeets a dude. It made me laugh, man.
It was supposed to be his first solo save.
Right.
And he thinks he cares about this. But then Noir, who is very funny, goofy, just actors, comes like, what's my motivation? Everybody's
his
like,
whole
your motivation
thing is
shut
to
the
not
fuck
talk.
up. And Deep are there. And then Homelander can't fathom somebody getting more popular than him. So he ruins the whole thing by showing up too. And Ryan is both, angry, pre-puberty, but also so nervous. The only person who we've seen be nice to Ryan, he yeets him into the building and blows his body up.
And then we have our thing, right? We have our thing for the 4th season. You called it the 3rd. I don't know why you did that. Or the 2nd.
Never.
But will Butcher or Homelander win over Ryan?
Yeah, my two dads.
And yeah, he is very scared. And Homelander's reaction to why Ryan is crying. Ryan is crying because he yeeted his actual mentor.
Right.
Not Butcher, not Homelander, but his actual mentor into a building, and he splattered. And that's why he's crying. And Homelander thinks he's crying because he lost his first solo save.
Yes. And then gets so angry because he's like, I keep telling you humans are toys. Why would you care about them? Because he cannot fathom empathy.
Not just keep saying humans are toys, but also every time he says it, and this drives me crazy, reaches out his hand so they can hold. Ryan is too old to still hold hands.
Yeah.
Like that is such a Tom
What are you gonna
Brady
do? Kiss
kiss
him
on the mouth.
legs? Oh man, same brains. The Boys is back, and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey now, Ryan, what's your moment of the week?
Oh man, I have to. Mike, you know how much I love a yeet, and that guy gets the guy earlier in the second episode says, "Don't worry, push me for real. I can handle it," and gets shoved so hard. You see him fly across the screen like when people punt a pet in a cartoon, and then it just goes over the hill. But this is a real ass person, and he slowly slides down the hill, and everyone's like, "No, it's fine that it happened to the bad guy, right? This is how we treat bad guys."
Yeah. You nailed it. It is the 1-2 punch of the planting the seed of no, be fine. I'm a stuntman. You can do whatever you need to me. But no. These people aren't human. They're all monsters inherently. Wait, I understand the human rights people in X-Men. Oh no. Ryan.
Real quick, Mike, can we have an anti-moment of the week?
Yes.
There's a guy in these two episodes that clones himself, and he's like Jamie Madrox. He's very powerful.
Yeah.
But they decide to do it like a human centipede sort of ass-eating scene.
Eating his own ass 8 times while jerking off to a headshot of Firecracker.
Okay, so what Mike is intimating is that if he had a hotter picture of that girl, then it would all make sense.
No. I understood my tone was weird there.
But that's so like the boys' writers' room being like, what have we not done? Let's just do this.
And then is this the same episode he gets pink eye later in the battle?
Yeah, and then I mean
I was like, that's not how pink eye takes longer. That's
Mike has some advice for you writers.
If you're gonna human centipede, pink eye takes longer. That fight scene I thought generally was pretty sick.
No, the fight scene was great, but I just think that like that's a little addition of like, what haven't we done yet? Let's do that.
This is what people know us for. I don't know. I think they do gore. The yeeting is such a good version of the gore and wildness versus the
and it makes me laugh.
Eating.
It makes me go like, oh no, but also laugh at the same time. The ass eating's like, it just feels like they have a checklist.
Right. But Kimiko getting drunk and ruining the mission while they all ruin the mission in different ways and beating people up, but also her in sign language continuing to be like, wait, no, it wasn't 4 beers, it was 6 beers. Like, that was all great and what the boys is good at and isn't like over the top eye rolling.
Here's Ryan's meta moment of the week.
Uh-huh.
How many times Mike has been at like a party or a carnival or whatever, and I, Ryan, have said 2 beers, 4 beers, 6 beers, 8 beers, 10 beers, and then finally explained my behavior. That really hit me to the core.
Do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website. It is, of course, best place to yeet a person into a building.com.
Wow. You really can't get short website names anymore.
Well, they're all taken, Mike.
I know.
And so, yeah, basically what
so what
we'll
does this do? Yes?
You put your phone on a building, and we'll be like, if you yeet a person into that spot, it will do almost no damage to the person or the building. This is important. We want to do most destruction to the person and the building at the same time. So, like, put it right into the spot where the person dies and the building falls down.
Because I'm going in the middle of Mount Rushmore to figure out how I can yeet producer Dave right into George Washington's earlobe to knock the whole mountain down.
So, no, not the earlobe. It's the nose, Mike. And you would know that if you subscribe to best place to yeet somebody into a building.com.
Best place to yeet somebody into a building.com is where you should go. And Ryan, I want this to be real, so where you should go is to my friends at cybersprout.net. Their design experts are well-versed in digital strategy and elegant design. They combine those two masterfully, if I had to come up with a word. They're going to work hand in hand with you to yeet and focus on collaboration, goal-driven design to help make sure your website reaches the right customers. They're going to provide you with tools and training that make managing and tweaking your business's website a breeze. So go learn more about that at cybersprout.net.
Web designers. Oh, sorry. Web designers. Do you like food? If you want to eat, you got to eat.
I love that as an internal tagline because it doesn't make sense as external. We're going to take the quickest breaks, and when we come back, every other show that came out this week. Now it is time for the pull list, where, as I said, we talk about every other show that came out this week, starting with My Adventures with Superman.
On this week's episode of My Adventures with Superman, Jimmy gets invited to the Star Lab Symposium, and Clark joins him for something like that can only be, like, well-intentioned. Yes?
He's giving a keynote he found out 2 hours before the event starts. Totally normal, totally fine, didn't bother me at all.
Meanwhile, in a thing that doesn't bother me at all, we get flashbacks to General Lane and Lois Lane's father-daughter relationship. Taste buds, I ask you this. Has Lex Luthor officially been delivered to the My Adventures with Superman world?
Yeah, he is 1,000% here. He's no longer waiting in the shadows. It really seemed like, okay, season 1, we hint at him. Season 2, he's growing. And maybe in season... No, he's here. He's the big bad. He's definitely here, and he's changing everything. Because he also was invited to the Star Labs Symposium, but seemed to know that before that morning, have talking points, be good at said talking points, and have an agenda. Because everybody knows Jimmy Olsen is best friends with Superman. Don't look at the fact that he lives with a guy of the same size named Clark Kent.
That guy wears glasses.
Yeah, they're different. And Jimmy is an idiot. He's a doofus, an imbecile, and had zero preparation. And so when he is suddenly shoved onto stage doing a debate where in a power move, the moderator of the debate is facing away from either of the debaters, I liked that. I'm facing stage left. Fuck you guys. Alexander Luthor destroys Jimmy Olsen in Is Superman a Threat to Us?
Okay, sure. Loves apparently it's effective if you're like, this guy's a foreigner and foreigners are bad.
Well, it's also effective because it's not just the public who is here, right? It's not the public who does love Superman. It is military warmongers. It is Star Labs scientific people who were like cutting edge until an alien came in. So it is all the people Superman is threatening. It is the military industrial complex who Luthor is talking directly to, and Jimmy does not realize he is talking to.
And I get the argument of what if Superman changes his mind? And what if he's like, you know what? I think North Korea is super cool. Or what I think Russia is super cool. I get that. But the heart of the story is Jimmy saying, like being told by Lex, hey, come this way, and looking at Clark and then going that way.
Dude, the fact that Jimmy bails on Superman, even he doesn't believe it, he just doesn't want to look weak in that moment. Oh man, this show was already not a fan of Jimmy Olsen. Woo!
Yeah.
And especially because like how cartoons and shows in general works, I feel like they're just going to make up with a half-assed apology. They're not going to actually deal with the fact what a big betrayal Jimmy did.
They are roommates, so eventually that's going to come up. I don't know if General Lane is still their roommate, but those two
Mr. Towels on all the windows? Fuck General Lane.
He's so fucking...
He shoves Clark against the table because he doesn't know where Clark was all night in the beginning of this episode.
He's so stinky.
You don't need to know.
That's not a good roommate, dude. You shouldn't shove your roommate into a table. But no, I think that Jimmy Olsen has way more to make up for. I hope that this rift lasts the entire season. I want to see less of Jimmy Olsen, if I'm being honest. And like, was this the episode where we heard more than any other episode? Oh, Superman's friend, Jimmy Olsen? Like, yes. I feel like they were riffing on that so hard.
To remind us what a betrayal this is. I feel like the rest of this season, and it'll be interesting, is going to separate Clark from humanity. I think because of General Lane's shittiness, Lois is going to take the job at the Gazette in Gotham. And Jimmy is now Team Lex, I guess, you fucking sniveling worm.
I know.
And Clark is going to go try to find Kara, his cousin. And And I think that's going to be so interesting. And hopefully, because I do trust this show, more validating when the three come back together towards the end of the season or next season.
I'm sort of losing trust on this show. Like, this season has been underwhelming compared to the first one. I don't know.
It's not as good as the first season. The first season was so delightful and so good, and it does feel like they're like, plot. And we're like, that's not why we liked the first season, guys. It was the lack of said plot. Do you remember hanging out with that gorilla in that brain? Let's do more episodes like that.
Also, we find out that this show knows exactly how a dad can be abusive without ever punching his daughter. Just like, I will leave you alone forever, to the point where, like, you're so gone from me that, like, I don't have any relationship to you.
Let's celebrate. You did the thing when I abandoned you in the woods because you thought I was kidnapped. What do you mean? Why are you upset with me right now?
No, but,
the
like,
fact
I
that
want
she ever took him back after that.
Right. I want to make you the best person you could ever be. I want to make you the best citizen. I want to make you the best warrior. Shut the dude. I needed a fucking dad. Like, are you kidding me?
Be a
right
dad. And I'm fascinated. I think the show is changing enough lore and canon that they're not. But, like, Lucy Lane is a character. And so it'd be very funny to be like, she was even more abandoned and ignored by General Lane because she's not in any of the flashbacks. But I just don't think they're going to care about it. We've seen a lot of shitty versions of General Lane because he always is kind of a shitbag. I fucking hate this guy. And it might be because this is the most realistic version of this character.
I can't believe that I, at my current age, which is old, Mike, still get off so much on family members telling other family members to get the fuck out of my life. It's just awesome.
You're always going to be punk rock, brother.
Moment of the week?
Yeah, let's get to moment of the week. And it was devastating. It worked exactly how it was, but it was Lex is rubbing it in, but I also think he's sincere when he's like, Jimmy, man, would not have been here without you. And shakes his hand. It's like, oh.
He just knows how to push those buttons. My moment of the week is something that I miss a lot from the first season of just the characters reacting to each other. And Jimmy and Clark are in a Willy Wonka-esque floating
adorable.
And Jimmy's like, Jimmy knows that Clark is Superman, right?
Yes.
And he's like, Clark, did you ever believe that, like, we could fly like this? And Clark's reaction of like, no, this is crazy.
It's crazy. As he's like, this is actually way stupider than real flying.
Yeah.
Yes. It was so fun. Man, this, what's his name? Jack Quaid kid. Really owns our show and owns our hearts. My Adventures with Superman hits Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on HBO Max. Or
Be
I guess
there.
We just call it Max now.
Watch it immediately.
That's when I do it, with a big bowl of Fruity Loops. Next up is Sweet Tooth. In episodes 402 and 403 of Sweet Tooth, we get to know the villains more as we see the origin of Kelly Marie Tran's Rosie and the Wolf Pack. Meanwhile, Gus and crew meet a hybrid-hating family and then find a boat to Alaska. Ryan, but I ask you this. How does the threat of new big bad Zhang and Rosie hold up against the previous danger of the Lost Men?
I was a little confused until they went over like how basically they just took over Texas and
I forgot that we met Zhang,
right,
which is Rosie's mom, last episode because
I call her
Abbott
Dr.
had, like,
Kim.
It is Dr. Kim.
Yes.
From the OC.
From the OC.
Let's just talk about the OC. Dr. Kim is the matriarch, and she was one of the warlords General Abbott gathered. All of the warlords died except for her.
Right.
And she is... Abbott was ruthless, right? We saw him do fucked up stuff, but the actor and the writing, he was always so cartoonishly evil that I was never like, oh no. But the combination of how cold Dr. Kim is and how brutal Rosie is chasing her mother's approval, I didn't know this show could make my skin crawl.
I mean, I honestly thought that, like, Dr. Kim goes back to get her daughter and her 4 puppies, right? In this show, and I thought that was in real time,
right?
Like, you're gonna be excited to meet your sister, or your sister's gonna be so glad that you're coming back. I thought she had a twin. I was very confused throughout these 2 episodes, and I apologize. That's on me. But what we're actually seeing is this person is so sick of living in a trailer with 4 kids and no help that she will take any job in order to get out of her situation.
Including if that job is putting your 4 kids in cages and treating them like they're
soldiers,
animal slave
prisoners.
soldiers.
Yeah, it's horrifying. So she cleans up. She puts a cowboy hat on, and she sends them out, which she's totally down to do until... are we ready to talk about this?
Let's talk about the end.
And I would say a scene that harkens back to Saving Private Ryan, where the one guy slides the knife into the other guy so slowly.
Slowly.
In a
Becky
fight of
Bear.
In a fight of
Light
her
of my
life.
Fight of her life, light of mine.
Kills one of her babies that Kelly Marie Tran's character lays down with and watches them. I don't know if they die. We haven't seen the whole season yet, but bleeding out for sure.
And this is why the perfect kind of bad guy who makes you mad is Bear was just dealing with the fact that the goal of most of her young adult life is now on a boat. She can't interact anymore. What are her and Wendy going to do? Wolf Boy, Alpha, attacks her, tries to eat her face. And we've seen him. We've seen him eat people's faces in this show already. In the first episode, the racist guy who's had a baby, the Wolf Boys ate him alive. Bear stabs him in the gut. He's wheezing. And Kelly Marie Tran's like, what did you do to him? How dare you? Whoa. Maybe if he raised him like a real mom and didn't treat him like a monster, he wouldn't try to eat people's faces.
I mean,
bitch.
What are we supposed to feel in that moment? Are we supposed to feel bad for this child and her mother?
I don't feel bad for the mother. I feel bad for the child who literally never had a chance because the mom was so weak that she gave into her racist mom. It is complicated. This show slaps. How to ended up on Netflix, a channel that does not know how to make good shows. I fucking love Sweet Tooth.
And I did feel bad, and it's awful, and but also that lady in Saving Private Ryan who falls down on the porch because she finds out that 3 of her sons are dead.
Uh-huh.
Why'd you send them to the fucking war? That's the worst place to send your children.
Well, at least they were fighting Nazis. They weren't the Nazis.
Well, yes, but those children were told that Bear and Wendy represent Nazis. That's the thing about war, Mike.
I guess, except in Saving Private Ryan, they were right. They were fighting Nazis.
All right, fine. So you have the history on World War II, which is great for you, but we don't have the whole story yet on this war. But
I think we fucking do, Ryan.
Those kids were told that, and I'm not backing up Kelly Marie Tran. I'm just
right. I do feel bad for the Wolf Boys.
Yes, and that's the first time that because they've been in shadow and off camera the entire time, and then when Bear stabs him, we
saw how young he was
and his eyes and his
he's
he
another
died.
12-year-old.
This all brings me to a different point about these 2 particular episodes that we just matched up out of random. We didn't mean to, but throughout these 2 episodes, there's 2 things that happen that really struck out, and that's in Alaska, right, when they're looking for Birdie, and there's a fight going on between people looking for resources. The person in charge looks to her hybrid child, her wolf child,
Fox,
Naku,
yeah,
or something, and it's like, how do you think we should handle this? In the meantime, Sweet Tooth is calling more and more of the shots at all points, and I feel like that we're having the show of if you give the next generation the torch,
pass that goddamn torch.
If you just pass it, then you're a good guy who understands what's up, and if you will fight to the death to never pass it, you're a bad guy. That's what this show is saying.
But what I love is it is saying that, which is already interesting enough, but it's not even that simplistic because Big Man and Singh argue about, well, who's passing it for the right reason? And that's so interesting.
I'm going to pass it, but I'm going to pass it before you for better reasons, idiot.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I love this show, and the kid actors rule. Ryan, what's your moment of the week?
Oh, man. My moment of the week is... Sometimes moments of the week are great. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're both, Mike. I don't know. We didn't talk at all about Bat Kid's family. There's a Bat Boy born, and the National Enquirer goes nuts. They love a Bat Boy. But he sends our team off, and then he goes to his roof with his wings
flapping,
but those wings are shot, and he does not flap them. but he floats a little bit. And I don't know how science works in this show, but it got me, man. It got me.
Also, I think he might be a dragon boy because I've seen bats, and I don't know if those are bat wings. Mine is also Theo. I think this kid, for the little screen time he had, he did a lot. Wendy and Gus are meeting Theo in his special hideout attic, which rules. And they're talking about Birdie. And then Theo says, well, if she loves you so much talking about Birdie, why do you have to find her? And Gus says, because she went to Alaska to save the world. And he goes, oh, cool. Beat. What's Alaska? And all of that made me giggle and laugh. It's just 12-year-olds meeting each other, and it was delightful.
Oh, fucking BDSM? Cool. What's that mean? Also, I have to give it up for this show, and I don't know like how you feel about this, but like this last season, in a way that the first 2 seasons did not, Games of Throning so hard. If you want to get in a fucking boat and make it real quick over 3 days, and then row to the boat that sailed off 3 days ago,
yeah,
you can do it. Like
do it.
There is no traversing.
A wish and a dream.
Yeah, that's all we need on this show. And you know what, dude? I don't care about Game of Thrones, and I don't care enough about the logic of this. I'm in.
Right. Sweet Tooth is all on Netflix. We are watching it week by week, 2 episodes at a time. We're going to take the quickest of breaks, and when we come back, the next chapter of Spider-Man, the animated series. Welcome to S-Tasmania, bitch, a mini show within a show where we dive into the seminal and underrated after-school cartoon of the mid-90s, Spider-Man, the animated series. This week we're talking about Sins of the Father, Chapter 2, Make a Wish. Take a chance. It's called Make a Wish. When we start Make a Wish, Spider-Man is griping about the world hating him, and we see a tentacle closing a sewer grate. And everybody is at yet another big science emporium where somebody's showing off an experiment.
It's a gala. It's a gala.
It's a gala. We see Mrs. Hardy, Felicia's mother, sitting next to J. Jonah Jameson. Peter's there, and some dude and his argon matrix laser, which works, Ryan, of course, on a sub-molecular level. And he's showing that you can program it to be like, no, just destroy these things. And he goes through, it's killing the metal wall, goes right through a pumpkin, killing more metal wall. The pumpkin is safe, Ryan.
We can save so many pumpkins with this laser. It's going to be great. Okay, great. All right, it doesn't go through organic things. But, Mike, instead of 10 minutes of fucking laser talk, we cut right to the sewers, and Doc Ock is like, fuck this guy.
This is all
ends
bullshit.
The entire thing. Is this the quickest to action we've ever been in an episode?
They're finally getting it. Doc Ock rips the fire alarm completely off, not just pulls the little lever, which starts an earthquake, which I didn't quite understand. Those are different to me. But
No. If there's a fire, an earthquake will put it out.
That's true. And Doc Ock starts to crawl through the metal floor, and everybody's running, right? Because fire alarms, earthquakes, tentacles from the ground. They're running, and Jonah's like, not you, Parker. You stay here and take pictures. Bro, that is not how anything works.
Again, and I hate to keep bringing up the movie Civil War, but like, is that what war photographers are just... That's what they have to deal with?
But Peter didn't sign up to be a war photographer.
He's a freelance photographer. He could say,
barely
I will
gets
not
paid.
be accepting fees on this
He
night.
has to beg for $20, not of a picture he takes, of a picture they publish.
And that's because he wants to sort of go out with Betty Brant, who he also wants to go out with Felicia and Mary Jane. So
He could get so much more money from any other paper. Just stop flirting with Betty Brant.
But she was played by Elizabeth Banks in the original
Yeah,
movie.
she was.
And
he could fit his bike in it. You know? Doc Ock, Henry's like, this is my invention. And Doc Ock is like, you were merely my assistant. And then he shoves the laser. Spider-Man changes. Doc Ock shoves the laser towards Spider-Man because he was under the sewer, so he did not hear the pitch of what this laser can and can't hurt.
Okay, because I have an issue with this. He didn't hear the pitch of what the laser can
He
do.
was in the sewers.
I heard the pitch, and I was very not scared, but Spider-Man did not, so please keep going.
No. Spider-Man heard it. Doc Ock did not, so he thinks it's going to hurt
see.
him. And Spider-Man's like, but I'm not a pumpkin, because he's pinned to the wall.
But
and the
no,
laser goes.
Peter Parker says, and I quote, oh, wait, I forgot. It only hurts non-organic things.
There's what? You're going to remember every little thing you hear when the earth starts quaking?
If a
when the ground
laser
starts
is
shaking?
coming towards me and about to like either kill me dead or gently
remember
slice
everything?
off my clothes, I'm going to remember everything, yes.
I do love it only hurts his clothes, so we're going to see some Spidey nips. And then
which are in the shape of spiders, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. And then he webs the laser and rips off 2 of Doc Ock's tentacles, which was Boss.
Mike, I want you to only answer this question if you don't know the answer.
Okay.
Is Felicia Hardy Mrs. Hardy's daughter and sometimes Flame of Peter Parker and Flash Thompson ever going to become the Black Cat, or is this what we're doing for the rest of the series?
Only answer if I don't know.
Correct.
What I can tell you is Felicia Hardy is not in this episode.
Well, she's around somewhere.
I mean, sure. Just off screen at all times.
Does it happen, though?
I don't.
And is it a one-off?
Answer.
Is it a one-off episode, or is it 14 episodes of
Ryan,
Felicia Hardy?
Nothing in this show is a one-off episode. More people are running. Spider-Man catches MJ, who Doc Ock has thrown. Why the fuck was MJ at this laser gala? He keeps running after.
Hold on, idiot asshole. If you got you heard that there was a laser gala in town, would you?
But
go,
I'm a nerd. I'm not a model, sometimes Shakespearean actor.
You don't think Mary Jane would be like, "Oh, a laser gala? I would love to attend."
No, I have to go to Shakespeare in the Park, even though I'm doing a Tennessee Williams. I can't remember
Sam Kinison.
Names.
No, it was a Sam Kinison play.
This is a Sam Kinison planned play. Spidey is running after Ock and does a somersault in the air, and like Kid from Hook barrels into Doc Ock to knock him off.
Unfortunately, Spider-Man says, "I'm not letting him get away this time," which makes him ruin so much laboratory results that people are upset that he did this.
Not gonna let a bad guy just get away with it, and people do not like that. Let the bad guy get away, man. Mrs. Hardy is freaking out about her medical lab. Why couldn't he just let Octavius escape? She exclaimed.
I'm sure she is always, knowing what I know about Mrs. Hardy, she is always saying, "Why couldn't we have let the criminals escape?"
Rich white ladies have their finger on the pulse about what should happen when it comes to justice.
Get him gone. Let him go.
J. Jonah Jameson says, because Spider-Man's a glory hog who never thinks about the consequences, so I'm going to now devote my career to destroying him. Oh, what were you doing before, Jonah? What were you doing before, my friend?
Finally, I have found character motivation.
Then something is about to blow up. Spidey saves himself because there was purple gas released, and that's when it blows up. And then they end up in the water. A cop pulls a gun on Spidey. Ock escapes on a boat. Even though he hasn't heard everybody's horse shit yet, Spidey does blame himself. He goes, I let my temper get the best.
No, he's like, fuck Spider-Man fucking forever. I'll never do this. What is this, fan mail? Fuck you.
I'll shove it up my ass. I'm wiping it and putting it in Robbie's face, because now Robbie's defending Spider-Man to J. Jonah Jameson. And this is when he's like, I'm going to use all my resources. Parker's like, I'm quitting.
Honestly, I would say the last thing, based on how Robbie Robertson, incredible name, is handling Peter, is a fan mail letter that has been rubbed up his ass and then put in his face. That's the last thing he deserves.
The last thing. Robbie does hand the fan letter. He's like, hey, Parker, you know Spidey. Give him this fan. I bet he needs it right now. Parker throws it away.
Also, it's important to note, though, that he's not like fan letter, still in the envelope, unread. Fuck this. He reads it.
A dying little girl? Oh, wait, I don't think we know that yet. A little girl. The episode's called Make a Wish. I think we learn it next episode, but...
No. And she says it at one point, like, it's my last chance. And he's like, oh, it's my last chance because I'm about to quit being Spider-Man. That's the only thing.
You selfish prick.
But no, he reads it, and then he's like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that, fuck
Maria,
you.
eat a dick. I'm out. I'm not going to be Spider-Man. And then to hint towards comic readers who watch this cartoon, he just, is pacing an alleyway, we're going to see the shot of a costume in the trash can.
Dump some shit in a trash can.
Never gets a chance because he hears this old hag voice saying, who are you? Mimicking what he's saying. And we learn it's Madam Web. She's a webbed face in a wall. And she goes, I'm not your enemy, Peter Parker. You are. Truth.
No, that is speaking truth. But I have to say, I'm going to come out and say this right now. As a fan of Spider-Man TV shows and comic books, I hate all this shit. I fucking hate all this Destiny. I've seen this before.
Spider totems?
Spider totems. People coming back and saying, what if the spider bite didn't give you the powers, but unwoke the powers already in you. All of it sucks.
It does suck.
All of it's like, I can't come up with a good Spider-Man story, so I'll do this, I guess. I don't even like as much as I love Miles Morales, as much as I love the 2 animated movies, the Spider-Verse, like, it's all fucking bullshit. How is this happening? It's because he's the most popular Marvel character.
Yes.
This sucks.
She does blame him for all the people he's hurt, who's close to him, which he was already dogging himself, but he wasn't like, what about Uncle Ben, Mary Jane, Felicia Hardy? She lists off all the innocents, and he's like, fuck, man.
And then he puts 2 costumes in a trash can.
She slaps the costume back on him and pulls him into her weird web world. And then
the World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. And then says bullshit fantasy or Destiny stuff you're talking about, where it goes, you're about to embark on a period of training for a mission I need of you. Okay. And then she webs him up, says he needs to overcome his self-pity, and then you must have the faith of a child, and goes back to the alley. And he goes, faith of a child, faith of a child, faith of a child. A child wrote me a letter, faith of a child.
Very, very subtly done. Thank you, episode. But to me, faith of a child means I should have the same faith that a child would have.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have the faith of a child, which means stupid, ignorant, like...
Believe in Santa.
Believe in Santa.
Believe in justice.
Believe in Jesus. But no, she means you have to go get the faith of a child.
I don't know if she means that, because this is the dumbest, douchiest version of Peter Parker. That's how he reads. He's like, wait, somebody told me about a child. I should go see her. And he shows up. And
so let me get this straight, Mike. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, who is under duress. Like, everyone hates him on every level. The criminals, the police, the media, the public. I'm going to instead then hang out in the room of a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah, I think this is what will win me over to the public.
And what
crawl through the window.
What does this 10-year-old girl and the audience need to hear?
What?
My origin story.
Dude, so he goes to Maria. Don't call her Maria. Her name is Tayana. I don't understand why the show did this. I don't know if it's a reference to anything. But he's showing up. Before we get to his origin, we do learn she's like, where did you get your powers from? Timmy says you're from a dying planet and your parents hid you here in a tiny spaceship. And he goes, I think you're confusing me for somebody else.
Okay, which I do like. I like the fact that DC Comics are comics in this world.
Yes.
And Marvel Comics should be comics in the DC world.
The fully Tobey Maguire action movie of You're Not Superman, you know. It is like fully linking to that. Superman exists in the world of Spider-Man, and we love that. But yeah, he starts telling her about high school and how Liz, he asked her out and how Liz sucks. And how Flash is like, well, Liz and I have some partying to do. And
do you understand what you see in that moment?
What?
This is important, Mike. Do you understand what you see? He
Glasses?
is telling her a story about his past.
Uh-huh.
And then Flash Thompson says, oh, get out of here, nerd. And then he walks away. So what do you see?
What do we see?
You see Flash's back in a flashback. For maybe the first time in history. I think it's important to note.
The backside of Flash, just like the Jungle Cruise promised. I like, Tayana is like, Spider-Man, that's pitiful. You really let him get away with that?
Oh.
You bitch.
You're a fucking piece of shit then, I guess.
And then we flash Doc Ock. And while this long, boring thing we don't need, Doc Ock now has a mini-Ock that he's controlling with his mind. And Kingpin is just there noddingly, approvingly. He's like, yes,
no,
quite.
This is amazing. Like, we are in the middle of this origin story, and then it cuts to, for no reason other than, this is a serialized story, right? This is part 2 of 14.
Sure.
Doc Ock and Kingpin scream, like quick screaming at each other. They are screaming so fast at each other.
They know they have 20 seconds on air right now.
And they are making all of it. You know, like those like tertiary SNL characters who like only have that amount of time in this episode. That's how they're acting. They're screaming bullshit as fast as they can.
We flash back to the flashback, and he gets bit. He's at a different symposium. But then we learn the doctor and everybody else is laughing that Peter fainted instead of getting like an EMT. He's a high schooler, and the doctor's laughing at him. They let this kid stumble into the street, and now his face is on a tiny spider body. Aunt May is trying to kill it and washes it down the sink. Now he's giant Peter head on a spider body, and the army's trying to kill him.
He goes right to the Hudson River, I believe, because if you flush your toilet in New York, it goes directly into there. And now he is amongst all the poo-poo and pee-pee. a giant man-sized spider with a Peter head.
And then he wakes up normal in an alley. And then almost gets hit by a car again. And then discovers he has spider powers. And now Doc Ock is crushing Kingpin's art with his mini Ock to prove how it works. And then Spider-Man is bragging to this little girl how he built his own web shooters and makes her a swing of web. He was on a TV show. That's amazing. That led to the wrestling, the burglar origin.
The worst episode that we've watched so far?
Yes.
But
this
I will
is such
say
a
this.
drag.
I will say this. I did not. Maybe it's because I have not watched the first season in a while, although I have probably seen it sooner than most people on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't think it was redone animation. Like, I don't think that like they reused animation. I think they retold the origin with all new animation, which is...
I don't know. I don't remember us getting the origin. I feel like he was Spider-Man when we started because we didn't watch him in high school.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, third season, kids gotta know. How did he become Spider-Man?
At one point in the flashback, he asks a girl on a date, and she says, "Oh, go to that and miss the big party with Flash Thompson." Is that a better name for this podcast?
The big party with Flash Thompson?
The big party with Flash Thompson.
With Mike and Ryan and Cassie?
Yeah. Or ignore those last three parts. Just the big party with Flash Thompson.
I like it. He's like, I want to quit. Tayana's like, no, you'll be more careful. You never quit. That's why you're my hero. And then she's like, you're going to web swing? He's like, I got to think. I'm not leaving, but I got to swing. She's like, bring me. And he's like, I guess I'll take you all through Manhattan, even though every time I do this, somebody tries to kill me.
And this is the part where she's like, because it could be the last time. And what he thinks is like, oh, it's the last time I'll be Spider-Man. But
she knows I'm quitting.
She's dying.
She's dying. It's called Make-A-Wish.
He says, yes, I'll take you. And either way, if it's his last night as Spider-Man, if she is dying, this is a terrible idea. And it becomes terrible immediately because as soon as Spider-Man gets out of the window, missiles are launched immediately.
Yeah. Drones are chasing him. He's showing off his gymnastic moves. The Octo robot shows up. They fight. Then Spider-Man gets knocked out, dragged away, and Tiana crawls out from under the stairs and like, bro, you left a 10-year-old in the middle of the rooftop in Manhattan. Fuck you. You are terrible. J. Jonah Jameson was right.
Yeah. I mean, because like that's the thing about being a bad guy is like Dr. Octopus is like, I saw that girl you were with, and Spider-Man's like, well, don't bring her into it. And he's like, oh, I shouldn't. But I will. That's being a villain.
That's being a villain. Ryan, let's get to the awards. This is the worst episode we've done. What is your web zinger?
Oh, my zinger, Mike, is it has to be. This is the whole theme of the episode. Octopus saying, nobody gives me my due. And Spider-Man saying, I'll give you your due. And I just wish we said that to each other more often.
I'll give you your due
even
hand
if
each
it's
other
like,
Mountain Dews?
Or throwing doo-doo at each other's faces. I don't care. We should give each other our due.
Let's give each other our due. Mine was, so Spider-Man is getting crushed by Octobot. And he's like, oh, it's telepathic. And he goes, oh, did you steal this from that guy too? And
yes.
Dr. Octopus is such an egomaniac. They're just like, no. And it loosens.
Which we knew right away because the action started because Dr. Octopus was like, I hate this guy.
Yeah. You get 17 points.
Thank you.
What is your 90s moment?
It's fan mail. I feel like that this is like probably the last episode where you mailed somebody a letter. After this episode, it was email from then on out.
Emails.
Yeah.
Or instant messengers. Mine was his Argon Matrix laser. Let's throw a bunch of shit in a row.
This is a theatricum, never gonna come, unbelievacum laser.
Unbelievacum. I get 5 points. What is your NYC as a character?
Going down an alleyway and a fortune teller fucking attacks you and says, oh, come to my shit and I will read you your fortune.
You cannot get away from her. Mine was in the flashback, and I hope this means Peter did it, is the New York cop Peter Parker shows back up, and there's cops at his aunt's house. And the cop's like, in a super thick Bronx accent, he's like, yeah, your uncle tried to stop a mugger. We got away. Jesus.
So the cop was a member of, what was Eminem's group?
Oh.
D12?
D12, yeah.
The cop was a member of that rap group.
I get 12 points. Ryan, what, for because you said D12. Ryan, our last award is Cassie Compliment.
Do we do action move?
Oh, shit. I forgot about Kung Fu Grip.
My Kung Fu Grip is saying, what is it, midnight? What are you, 10? I'll take you out on my back for a spin. What the fuck, Peter Parker?
Mine is full-on somersaulting into somebody's back to knock them on their ass, which he does to Doc Ock. Yours was good. I want the action figure that does child endangerment.
I know you do, bud.
8 points.
But like, that's awesome to be like, oh, this is Doc Ock. He's so smart and so strong. I'll just fucking somersault right into his back. That takes down everybody, folks.
Stop this, dick cheese. All right, now Cassie Compliment. What are you at?
I think that me and Mike are just two people who are always wandering around, running into each other, saying, when will anybody give us our due? When will anybody give us our due? And then Cassie will say, I'll give you your due. And then we'll either promote us on the podcast or throw a Mountain Dew in our hands or throw her poop at us. But like, she's always giving us our due.
Facts. Mine is, we said, Cassie, you ready for the show this week? And she said, fat chance. Liz and I have some partying to do. And then walked out with some girl named Liz I've never seen before instead of being here. Classic fucking Cassie.
Did she go to the big party with Flash Thompson?
She went to the big party with Flash. Well, she is the Flash Thompson. And then gave us swirly wedgies.
It's awesome to think about how Cassie is going to be told that she's the Flash Thompson and be so elated and hurt at the same time. And watch that face.
It's all I love doing to my friends. Hurting and elating them simultaneously. That is all the time we have for the show, Ryan. Before we get out of here, can you tell the lovely listeners about some other websites?
Oh my God. Popfilter.co is where you can find all of our web podcasts that we do. We do Superhero Show, Movie of the Year. We'll probably talk about that later. But yeah, popfilter.co is sort of like our home base.
Speaking of Movie of the Year, that is our sister show. Where every season we go year by year to find the best movie of the given year via bracket, the best way to decide anything. This year is 1984. My calculations are correct. This most recent episode that just came out was, of course, The Adventurers of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Guest starring one Matt Singer, who is a bit of a Spider-Man expert himself because he wrote a whole book about it.
He wrote a book about it, and also like when I said that he wrote the book about Siskel and Ebert, like, I'm not fucking around. He literally did that.
He literally did that. Siskel, Ebert, and Spider-Man, the 3 best film reviewers we've ever had. And this coming week, what's coming out, Ryan, to get people excited?
Oh, Jesus, Mike. I think it might be Paris, Texas.
It's Paris, Texas, the most lauded episode, if you're a Movie of the Year listener. You know, we've been talking about it all season. If you want to get in touch with us, reach out to us on social media at Your Pop Filter or via email contact@popfilter.co. Next week, I'm very excited to announce here that my webpage is slowly uploading, that we will be talking about. Come on, Tabs. What are you doing, Tabs? You're killing me, Tabs.
Is that the name of our new producer? Come
Yeah.
on, Tabs.
Right. Tabs is new, and he's a little slow. What the fuck is this shit,
Do you want me to
Tabs?
say it?
It is episode... Yeah, you can say it.
Episodes 3 and 4 of The Boys. 4 and 5 of Sweet Tooth. And My Adventures... It's like this show, but different.
Oh, more of this, but in the future.
Yeah.
Well, and Cassie will be back unless she has more partying to do.
But I think, Mike, you'll be gone next week. So
I have partying to do.
Uh-huh. And
So I will not be here.
Will Flash Thompson be there?
I hope so. I need to give him a wedgie swirly.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But I want like Agent Venom Flash Thompson who's seen some shit.
Oh, shit. That's a good call.
For Agent Venom Flash Thompson, for non-Agent Flash Thompson, just respect for Ryan, for Cassie, I am Mike. Enough said?
Excelsior!